What's up, YouTube? This is Too Raw for TV. I want to give a shout out to Philip and Prince Okeezy for their channel donations. Thank you so much for the donations to the channel. Thank you for your support and your love to this channel. And to anybody else that want to donate to this channel, you can do so on the link provided in the description box below. Now I want to talk about something. I, I, I was on one of Ticket TV's live streams recently, and we started talking about Lonzo Ball, and it's something that I've thought about. I mean, I ain't the only one that thought about this, you know what I'm saying? But I really do believe that Lonzo Ball, if he came into the NBA with the present skills that he has and mindset, if he came into the NBA in the 1990s, I don't think he would have made it. I don't think he would have made it in the NBA at all. You know what I'm saying? Like, literally, I think he would have he might have played in the CBA, but that's about it. And and I don't mean it to be disparaging on him, but it's just that I don't think he would have been able to be productive in the NBA. Now, at best, if he had like a mindset and a toughness, mental toughness, like and competitiveness, like a Derek Fisher, then I can see him maybe being um I could see him being like maybe a starting point guard on um, one of the lesser teams in the league back then, that maybe like one of those earlier Timberwolves teams or something like that. Or, I could see him maybe being a starting point guard known for like being a decent defensive player. But what would have really hurt him though, even with that, is that 45% career free throw percentage. Like, I keep bringing that up because a lot of that shit get glossed over now, but back then, that's just something you didn't see, man. A point guard that only shot 40-some% from the foul line, that's even Avery Johnson, who was probably the worst shooting and scoring point guard in the league back then, even he shot about close to 70% from the foul line. But the way Lonzo Ball is, I give him this. He's a decent defensive player. He's a good hustle guy at times, you know what I'm saying, for the Lakers. I give him that. Decent rebounder. But outside of that, he's extraordinarily inconsistent. There are some games, a lot of games actually, where he just cannot do anything out there. Offensively, he's horrible at times. His shooting percentage is terrible for a guy his size. The Jason Kidd comparisons are laughable. They are laughable. Jason Pig, damn. Jason Kidd's impact on the game is tenfold of what Lonzo Ball brings to the table. You know what I'm saying? And I just, I honestly just don't see him making it, man. Like, I'm trying to think of all of the point guards that played back in the 1990s. I just don't see him making it, man. Penny Hardaway, Tim Hardaway, Rod Strickland, Kenny Anderson, Mark Price, Terrell Brandon. At the very beginning of the decade, Magic Johnson, Gary Payton. I'm just going throughout the decade. Allen Iverson first started off at the point guard position. Lindsey Hunter, Vernon Maxwell. Earlier on, at times, Joe Dumars played that position. Isaiah Thomas earlier in the decade. Fat Lever earlier in the decade. Um, this is fun. I'm just going through guys, like, I'm just going through teams. Um, Let me think. Let me think. Let me think. Let me think. Who else? Who else? John Stockton. Um, Kenny Smith. Um, there's some other guys. I just can't think of them right now. Oh, Mookie Blaylock. This guy wouldn't have made it, man. I'm telling you, this dude would not have made it back in the 1990s, man. It ain't like I'm just naming names. If you watch basketball back then, you know what these guys were capable of bringing to the court back then. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to go back. Matter of fact, let me look. Let me look. I'm trying to look right now and see if I can conjure up some other guys, some other point guards that played back then that I'm just not thinking of right now. Mahmoud Abdul Rauf. Yeah, see, this guy, man, if he had played in that era, he wouldn't have made it, man. Nah, he wouldn't have made it, man. Stephon Marbury, yeah, he would have got cooked. He would have got cooked on a daily basis. Derek Harper, man, he would have got cooked on a daily basis, man. I mean, to the point where if a team just decided to stop, let's just say for whatever reason, he was picked number 2 overall, and he was a starting point guard. Let's put him in the starting. Let's say his first season is the 90. I want to put him in the beginning of the 90s. Yeah. Let's say he got drafted in 1990. So he going up against Isaiah and Magic too. I guarantee you by January of that season, Lonzo Ball is no longer a starting point guard for every team he's drafted. No longer starting. He's on the bench. Um, he's on the bench. And I would guess that at best, three 3 years after he was drafted, he would be out of the league. By 1993, 94, he's out of the league because he can't compete with these other great point guards. He can't compete with them. You know, and I could even see if he came in later, I could even see Ron Harper giving him fits defensively. Mark Jackson, he just popped up. I can see Mark Jackson backing his ass up in the post. Yeah, I could I don't see it, man. I don't see him being successful in that era. And what that also tells me is that contrary to popular opinion, the NBA is not more talented than it was back then. You know what I'm saying? Like every team that I can think of back then had at least, if not an all-star, they had one guy that could put asses in the seat for the most part. Especially before the NBA became a little bit more watered down in the mid to late 90s. From 90 to 93, 94, the NBA was strong, man. It started falling out a little bit in the mid to late 90s with expansion and certain guys retiring and whatnot. But yeah, man. And even not just point guards. I can see Lonzo switching off to other guys. Like, can you imagine J.R. Ryder going up against him? Man, he will cook this motherfucker, man. Man, y'all better get this dude out of here, man. Allen Iverson would have crossed this motherfucker kneecaps off, man. Straight up, man. And I back this video up 100%. I mean, if you don't like it, I'm sorry. If I'm a hater, whatever. I notice I'm always a hater for people who don't like what you're saying or they feel some type of way. Why use that emotionally invested in the player anyway? People call Michael Jordan a coon all the time. He is a coon. He's the greatest player, I think, to play in the NBA in history, but he's a fucking coon. Stop being all emotionally attached to these motherfuckers like they your fucking relatives or some shit. Or even more than that. You know, something more sinister and creepy and shit.